Alright, I wanted to talk a little bit about parenting. Now, as ignorant as it will sound, I myself have no children. And others out there who choose to judge can stop it right here. Others that enjoy information, in all my jobs, especially one of my jobs, I'm around a lot of kids. And all kinds of kids that society labels developmentally disabled, challenging behavior, mental disabilities, all across the board. And then also kids that society labels higher functioning, and kids that society wouldn't label any sort of developmental disability. And given that, I'm around a lot of parents, a lot of families, constantly speaking with police officers, firemen, librarians, you name it. Very active in my jobs with talking with others and many different variables in the town here. And I've always just observed and looked at things and questioned things. And whenever I started getting ideas or trying to figure things out of what's going on here, I started to run experiments. And I did that through everyday interaction with others. And also I ran experiments just on human behavior in general through the internet with social media like Twitter and Facebook. For about a year, I ran experiments on there. And just trying to figure out some things, and why we do this or what does that and triggers that, and just to get a better grasp of it all. And I think so an actual science experiment would be looking at what we're doing and how we're living, and any science experiment that's just compartmentalizing and that it doesn't matter because we don't understand how to live correctly, and we're going down as a species, as I've addressed in other videos. So that's always been my big question. That's always how I've looked at things. Now, we need to understand when parenting, when it comes with behavior in our children, that everything that we do ourselves and for our kids, everything is stimulation. And that's going to drive their behavior and our own behavior. And it's what helps reinforce those wants and desires materialized and externalized. Because we're causing that stimulation within the body, within the mind, and using the mind, I guess. I'm not sure how it stimulates on the ethereal levels. Who knows? But we need to understand that we're being stimulated. And when we go back to understanding the body, we are stimulating our cells. We're not feeding our cells food. Our cells are getting fed off the gases. But and that's what's being stimulated. The gases are stimulating the cells in the body whenever we're eating or whenever we're drinking. And it's no different than whenever we charge a battery. You're not putting electricity into the battery, you're rearranging the chemistry of it. And that's what's, getting it to go. And it's no different than us. And then once we're being stimulated, because it's all about the stimulation, so we get the gases that are stimulating our cells. So let's just get it out there. Stimulation. And this is what it's about. No matter what we're stimulating, whether it be the cells of our body through eating, through drinking, through watching television, looking down on a phone, reading, intake of drugs, any sort of externalized stimulation is affecting us, and it will affect our behavior, and our body is going to shape itself to adapt to what we're putting into it and what we're doing with it, to once again, as I've stated, to best suit its duration to be as long as possible before it's done being of use. And just understand that everything that you're doing is just realize that, because I don't think a lot of times we stop and we're seeing that, and that's the biggest thing of what's going on. And depending on the amounts of this stimulation, how concentrated it is, and what kind of frequencies is going to show in the behavior of your child. Because when the body is adapting to meet such requirements, just given the example of our toxic environment, where we need to intake fuel and other gases in that through externalized means of drinking and eating, that it's going to want those things and want to require those things. So you're going to see fussing, you're going to see whining, you're going to see all this stuff and these behaviors going on, this manifestation of form, because it's so used to having those things. And you are doing that to your child, and you're allowing that to happen to your child, and it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want it to happen, just simply fix it and reverse the process, and talk with your child and explain to them of what's going on with this. And speaking of talking with our children, I see so many parents, just when I'm at, taking the clients to the park and stuff, and I see so many parents just face down in their phones. And I don't know, listen to your kids. Listen to them. They're smart. Like, kids are very smart, and they're seeing things in a very pure, observational way. And we are ruining that. We are ignoring that. And we are, I guess, dismantling that the younger that we are plugging them with stimulation. It doesn't matter what it is. Putting in vaccines, medications, drugs at early ages, all that stuff. It doesn't matter what it is. Where we are changing the body at a very young age to need toxins, to want that stuff, to have to utilize that stuff to keep going. And we got to remember that these little guys coming in, let's do kids. Let's do adults. Do red. Christmas colors there. Red because we're tainted, green because we're the earth. And let's look at coming in. So, in reference to understanding existence, if we have these souls coming in to these bodies that we're providing the form for, and so they're coming from this spirit reality, whatever, going on, coming in, and this is kind of like where we're meeting them at the existence here, I guess. I guess you could say it's maybe like conception, birth, whatever, it doesn't matter. Hopefully you get the idea here. And then this is just completely engulfed in materialism. And we can learn from each other. Our kids come into this earth and they watch us and they learn from us on how to behave in this environment and what to do. It doesn't matter what we say. This is why a lot of kids don't listen when we talk, because they've learned through what they've been exposed to, what they've been stimulated with, and what they've seen. And if we are not behaving in a way that's in accordance with what we're trying to teach our kids through language, it's not going to be learned, and it's not going to be picked up, and it's not going to be practiced. And we have to do that ourselves. And we are the example, and we lead by example, and we need to start doing that. If you want your kids to behave a certain way or do a certain thing, then do it yourself. And don't doubt for a second. Anyone that's, you look at a baby, you can just see that innocence and that perfection, just coming in. And we can learn so much from watching our kids, listening to them, talking with them, getting their ideas about things, wanting to know about what they think, and what they feel and what they want to express. And, as long as they're not hurting anything or doing anything to, get themselves hurt or in trouble, roll with that. Just go with that. And we can't latch on. As I go back to the emotions and the feelings and the latching on function, I see a lot of parents, it's almost like they try to relive their experience through their children because of some sort of unsettled mess that's in their own mind, and they need to see it. That way it's almost like that they themselves are complete whenever they're already complete, and they're almost taking away or attempting to sabotage that own individual's experience that they're bringing in here to experience themselves. And you're creating a body, and you're creating that little vehicle and that house for that spirit to come in and listen to it, give it the best advice you can for the given situation and scenarios of your own experience, and learn from each other and work with one another. And once it's time for that little guy, girl, whatever, to go about their way, support that and be happy with that, because all the foundation that you've laid for them, they are going to disperse and carry wherever they go and live that way, and others will see that. And there's going to be this glowing little light that's just going around and lighting up all these little lanterns that need to be lit, that are coming, and the universe is going to send all that into accordance, and it's going to blossom. So just understand that we all learn from each other regardless. We may think we know better, but we do not.